Welcome back to the Epic Success Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Shannon Irvine. Today is part 2 of a 2-part series all around brain-based selling and how to get your content to convert your followers into clients, and the broken model that's being used out there online that I do not want you to use. And so if you missed last week's podcast, with Brandon, Lucero, and I, it was a behind-the-scenes business training for our advanced master coach, neuro coach clients, certification clients, and it was just too good to keep. I needed to share it with you. So if you haven't listened to part 1, please pause this right now, go back to part 1, and then circle back to this. But if you've listened to last week, I really can't wait to dive back in, where we really go deep into the clean steps for you to take, the step-by-step process to hyperdrive your content into conversion, really serving deeply and getting those transformations for your clients and getting them in through the way that they hear you, see you, like you, and trust you. All right, I don't want to wait any longer. Let's dive back into part 2 of converting your fans into clients through this brain-based process. All right, let's do this.
Connection pieces are a new type of video that we've been playing around with and we've been working with. And these are amazing for basically kind of creating a movement, building trust and building rapport on like the deepest levels possible. So I gave you guys the example of a design in the ground, and the design either looks like a 9 or 6, depending on what side you're looking at it. Some people see a 6 and some people see a 9. What thought reversals do is they get the people seeing the 6 and coming over and seeing the 9. Now, what connection videos do is get everyone else who's seeing the 9 to start rallying up behind you and going, yeah, that is a 9. Yeah, that is a 9. Yeah, that is a 9. So there's 2 things going on. When we understand our message, we understand what we stand for, we understand the things in the industry that we do like, we want to connect with people on that. So again, with these 2 types of content, what you're going to do is you're going to get everyone who sees a 6 to come over and see a 9. And then it's up to them whether they want to continue seeing the 9 or go back and seeing the 6. But at the same time, we want to find all the other people that see a 9 and get them to rally behind us saying that is a 9, that is a 9, that is a 9. This is how we start to create movements. Now, again, these are often going to be viewed as motivational videos, but I don't want you guys to focus on motivating people. What I want you to do is to validate people's beliefs in their identity and their existence, basically. We're letting them know it's good to be you. It's good. Like, hey, you have this belief. That's good. Let's talk about it. Let's agree on it. And that's what we want to do. So the reason why these get misconceived or, misrepresented as motivational and inspirational videos is because we are kind of doing that, but we're doing it based on identity and beliefs. And I'm going to give you guys an example of that in a second. So we want to create content that also reinforces your ideal audience's identity and beliefs. Okay, so this is where you literally get to pick who is going to be in your audience. Like and when you guys understand this concept, it's super, super stupid simple. And it's almost gonna be like, why? It's gonna be like, why haven't I thought of this? So the easiest way to do this is to look at your beliefs that you support in your space. Obviously, this needs to be related to your business. So look in your niche and what are the beliefs that you support, and what are the identities that you want your audience to have. A very easy way to do this is just to look at your core values. Who are you as a person? Most people don't understand this. Your core values are actually your identities, and most people don't actually understand that. So when I list my core values, family is my number 1 core value, business is number 2, money is actually number 3, and integrity is in there as well. Those are like my top 4. And so when I look at my identities, I tell people, I am a father, I am an entrepreneur, I am a person of integrity. Well, what do you know? Those are also my core values in the same order. So what we want to do is, if you really want people to connect with you, you need to identify what your core values are. Once you identify what your core values are, then you know exactly what identities you have as well. Then what you need to do is look at those identities and do they relate to business? Is this the audience I want to have? Is it yes or no? And so for me, like, money's number 1, and I have money as the top core value because I own a business. So I need to bring in money and I need to have money in order to make an impact. But I also understand that money can be perceived, wanting money can be perceived as a greed thing is too. So I just made an active decision to kind of leave the core value of money off of my messaging because I don't want that to be misconstrued in a certain way. So I made that decision to do that. But I also have things like, one of my core values is also exercise and things like that. But I don't want to bring that into my business because I'm not really a health coach or anything like that. So I left that. So we can pick and choose what we want based on our message and our business. Now, here's why this is so important. If my identity and my core values, my identities are father, entrepreneur, and person of integrity. If someone wrote a blog post or posted a video titled "Integrity is the best trait an entrepreneur and a father can have," I'm going to click on that video faster than I've clicked on anything. I'm going to support that message. I'm going to rally behind that message. This is one of the most key things you guys can do on any of your content titles and email subject lines, add whatever, but specifically video. If you can incorporate the identities that you have and the identities that your audience has and beliefs that you have and the beliefs that your audience has that you want them to support, it's almost like shooting fish in a barrel. If you can incorporate the same identities in your content that your audience has and the same beliefs that they have that you stand for, you will get the most engagement and you will get people rallying behind you faster than you ever have in your entire life. But no one actually does this. People focus on freaking tutorials all day long. And they don't actually focus on the deep psychology of how people actually communicate, how people actually connect. And that's what we're doing with this style of content. Being vulnerable, sharing behind the scenes don't build connection. It's the identity you support through those things that builds connection. When you're vulnerable, guess what? If you're doing it in the right way, you're revealing your identity. Maybe, you're showing like you're behind the scenes of your kids. That shows the identity of being a parent and the identity of caring. If someone else is a parent, they're going to connect with you on that. They're not connecting because you were vulnerable. The vulnerability exposed the beliefs and the identity that you guys are able to connect on. So you guys can create titles based on identities and beliefs. Here's one right here. If you're a mom, then you already have the DNA of an entrepreneur. Well, guess what? Caitlin wants to attract female entrepreneurs and specifically even mom entrepreneurs. That's who she wants to attract. Now, a male entrepreneur may still connect with it and be like, yeah, that is true. Moms do have the DNA of an entrepreneur. Like I would look at that and still support it. So don't think you're pushing people away. But what you're really doing is building a connection that cannot be broken because you're leaning into identities and beliefs. Okay. So obviously mom entrepreneurs are going to be super attracted to that video. 100 shares, 400 reactions, 21 comments. Mine on the right is a belief-based one. So Caitlin's on the left is an identity-based one. Mine on the right is a belief-based one. I believe that entrepreneurship has changed. I don't believe college is a safe bet. I think a lot of people are leaving college and coming out way in debt to have a degree that everyone else has and they can't find jobs. And I think that, if your heart's not in going to college, shouldn't do it just because that's the way it is. And that's kind of what this video talks about. But I also know a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the online space, tend to believe the same thing. And so this is a beliefs-based video. And I talk about that belief in this video. So how do we do this? Well, it's a 7-step process. And I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. My advice for you guys is to, after listening to this, don't try to figure this process out now, but really let this all digest and then come back and look at this. But really what we want to do is we want to connect, separate, future pace, proof, consequence, rally up, and choose. And I'm going to explain what this means. So what we want to do is we want to first connect. This basically is stating the belief that you want to connect with. And then we move into step number 2. And so this would be something like, college isn't the best thing to do if you really want to follow your passion, something along those lines. Separate, go into what most people do, which won't be what they are doing. So I would say something like, college isn't always the best way to go if you're really passionate about something. What most people do is they just go to college because they think that's the way it is. And then they end up being $50,000 in debt with a degree that everyone else has. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm separating the herd, so to speak. I'm getting all the people that are going to connect with my belief onto one side and all the people that aren't going to connect with my belief on the other side. Then I future pace. So I talk about the future and how this belief will become the norm. And so I'll say something like, more and more people are facing the consequences of going to college when they're not really passionate about anything and coming out in debt. And a lot of people are actually making the shift now to follow their passion because there's so many opportunities out there. In fact, this will become the norm. This will be how people normally make their money. So now I'm future pacing. And then I show the proof. And we see examples all around us. Look at people making money off of Uber and Airbnb. And I just start giving all the examples of people making money outside of the traditional, like college, go to, whatever, college degree thing. Then I do a consequence, state what needs to happen. Otherwise the consequence will happen. So I'll say something like, and we need to be bringing the new generation up to adapt to this norm, to adapt to what's happening, because the new generation, our kids, are growing up in a world that isn't even created yet, and we have no idea. So we need to teach them to be to adapt to this. Otherwise, we're going to have a world of very unhappy people and kids that are forced to do things that they're not passionate about. And then what I want to do is move into rally up. And I would say something like, state it's how it's our job. So I'd say, and it's our job, and it's my mission to stand against this norm that is keeping people trapped, this norm that forces people to be into debt, this norm that forces people to be unhappy. And what I'm doing now is getting people to rally up against the belief. And then at the very end, I get them to choose. So who do you want to be? Do you want to be the type of person that continues to do things just because that's the way it was and possibly cause suffering in people's lives? Or do you want to be the type of person who stands up, makes a change, stands up for what they want, and helps the new generation adapt to this change that's happening right now? And so what I did for you guys is, and I'll give the slides to you guys, but if you guys go and search in like Facebook, my Facebook page or YouTube channel, Entrepreneurship is Changing, you guys can watch that actual video. And you'll see that this process is exactly what we did. Or if you go to Carrie Green's YouTube channel and type in "business is changing," you can follow it. You can see this actual process in action. So those are connection videos. Now, let's move into the final piece, which is what to do videos. Now, these should only stem from your unique solution. So what a unique solution is I don't want you guys to be like a YouTube expert or a platform expert or a certain expert. I want you to create your own process and give it a unique name. For me, I have the Video Forex effect. Caitlin has the scale method. One of our other clients, Casey Morris, has the CEO teacher method. Jim Fortin has the identity transformational method. James Wedmore has things like digital CEO, the process. And so we want to find your unique solution. And in your how-to content, all you're going to do is position your unique solution as the answer. And so what happens is you will never do a how-to video that goes outside of your unique solution. So for me, I have the Video Forex effect. I will never do a single how-to video that does not fall underneath the umbrella of my unique solution. My unique solution becomes the North Star of all of my how-to content. Why? Because I want to create demand for my unique solution. And guess what? My unique solution, the Video Forex effect, is also my offer. So when you're talking about your unique solution in your content, you're really talking about your offer in a way that's not salesy, and you're creating demand for it. So what I would do is, and this is really what starts to pull people out of that content circle of death. So like for me, I was inside the content circle of death of YouTube marketing. I was a YouTube marketer. And then I created the Video Forex effect. I started shifting perspective and pulling identity. And I blew up fast. Like if you guys don't know my story, I went from, at the end of 2017, doing $500,000 in revenue, hating my life, doing things that I did not love talking about. Like I hated talking about algorithms and freaking uploading videos to Facebook or YouTube and all that. I just hated it. And so I killed everything. And then I had I'd stopped selling things for 3 months, but I still had the expenses of a $500,000 business. Then I got hit with a huge amount of taxes. And I went from that to 3 months later, finding myself $40,000 in debt, going like, what the heck just happened? Then I created the Video Forex effect. And in 9 months did $1.2 million in sales, using the exact formula that I just revealed to you guys. Like I created the Video Forex effect. That's my unique solution. All my how-to content stemmed underneath the Video Forex effect. I was shifting perspective and going against the grain. I was reinforcing the identity of the people that I wanted to attract. And we blew up fast. And this is how we're blowing up a lot of brands fast. And so what happens is when you start to create content from your unique solution, you get to talk about your unique solution in your content all the time. So let me give you guys an example. One of our pillars of the video Forex effect is impactful messaging. So all I would say is, like, the title might be like how to ethically influence and persuade with content. And I would say today we're going to talk about how to ethically influence and persuade with content. This is actually part of pillar number 2 of the video Forex effect, which is impactful messaging, which allows you to create really engaging content. So let's dive into it right now. And I would go through the steps. And at the very end, I'd say, like I said, this is pillar number 2. But if you guys want to learn the whole video Forex effect, go get our PDF on the video Forex effect. And now what I'm doing is I'm creating all of this demand in every single piece of content with, connecting everything in all of my content, referring to my unique solution, which is also going to be my offer. Now, what I want you guys to do is to imagine for 1 second that someone saw your, and by the way, I call these what to do videos, not how to videos, because the number one question I get asked is how much do we talk about in these videos? And I just tell people, just talk about what to do, not how to do it. The how comes in your course. And if you talk about the how up front, it overwhelms people. But the what to do videos will give you authority. The connection videos give you trust and rapport. Thought reversals give you thought leadership. Now, what I want you guys to imagine for a second is someone's never heard of you before, right? But all of a sudden you're like throwing this connection video out there, and it's a belief that they have and an identity that they have, and they go, wow, I really love this. Then all of a sudden they see a thought reversal from you the next day, and it's like, wow, I've never looked at it this way. And then all of a sudden the next day they see a what to do video that talks about your unique solution. You have the trust, you have the thought leadership. Now you've added this and you positioned your unique solution as the answer. What do you think is going to happen when they see an ad the next day? And you don't need persuasive copy. Like, it could just be like, learn the video Forex effect in more demand or in more detail. That ad is going to convert because you've already done all the legwork up front with your content and added a huge amount of value. So that what happens is it builds demand, trust, and allows you to form a movement all at the same time. And it all points back to your unique solution, which is your offer. So if you're having problem getting any traction, you're having problems getting any sales, you're having problems, people resonating with your message, I guarantee you guys are not doing any of these videos, or you might be doing 1 or 2 of these types of videos, or none of them. But I guarantee you, if you're having problems selling and creating any type of momentum with your content, you're missing one or all of these types of content inside of your business. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is, from now on, all of your educational content must stem from your unique solution. And this will allow you to create consistent messaging and demand. So all you need to do is tell them what they're going to learn in your how to or what to do video. Tell them what part of your unique solution this topic comes from. So is it pillar 1? Is it pillar 2? Tell them what most people do. Tell them the results they get because of that. State you're going to fix it, and then go into the steps. So here's how I would do it. Today, you're going to learn how to ethically influence and persuade with content. This is pillar number 2 of the video Forex effect, where we talk about impactful messaging. What most people do is they start putting out content without any idea of how they're going to get people to actually believe what they're saying. And then that causes confusion. It causes you to remain unheard. And the results you get because of that are you put out a ton of content with little to no results. You feel like you want to scream at the top of the mountain because no one's paying attention to you. And I'm going to fix all of that for you in this video right now. So let's get into the steps. And then that's basically how we would want to open our how-to educational videos, so that it starts to create demand for everything. What I do want to talk about real quick. So this is my buddy Kyle, and I really wanted this story to talk about the difference between enrolling people into a message that you believe in, because this is, in my opinion, where true alignment comes in. This is also where, like, entrepreneurship can be hard. It can be tough. But when we have a message that's so powerful, it's so much easier to get up every day during those hard times and continue fighting for the change we want to make in the world. And this story of Kyle really kind of brings this home. And so Kyle's a friend of mine. He's a lifeguard. He's a friend. He's a husband. He's a father. And so he was telling me this story where there's these women walking on the beach in Malibu. He says, out in Malibu. And all of a sudden they see this deer. So if you haven't been to Malibu, it's the beach backs up to mountains. And so there's a deer that ran out onto the beach, which is not normal, but it's not out of the blue either. But this deer decides to run straight into the water and just starts swimming out into the middle of the ocean. And these women start like freaking out, making a big deal about this deer swimming out into the ocean. And they're like rallying people up on the beach, and people are kind of like looking at all the commotion, and they go up to the lifeguard on the beach, and they tell the lifeguard, like, you guys need to go save the deer. And they're like, sorry, ma'am, like, or ladies, we can't, like, what are we supposed to do? We can't go save the deer. There's nothing we can do. It's either just gonna, turn around when it's tired or drown. And so they make this big fuss, and they're running on the beach, rallying people up. They're continuing to go to the lifeguard saying, this is unacceptable. We need to go save this deer. So the lifeguard calls Kyle. Kyle's the captain. And the lifeguard calls Kyle back at headquarters, and Kyle's like, yeah, we're not going to go save the deer. What do you want me to do? I can't jump in the water. I can't pull this deer out. I can't do anything. And so the lifeguard goes back and tells the women on the beach, hey, sorry, called the captain, can't do anything. And they get even more of a fuss. They rally up even more people on the beach. And now people are actually like rallying behind this go save the deer mission. And so now they have like more and more people coming up to the lifeguard tower, coming in and saying, we need to save this deer. We can't just let this thing, it's a living creature. And so the lifeguard calls Kyle and is like, Kyle, I don't know what to do. Like, there's a massive amount of people on the beach now. They're all like trying to get us to go out there. They want me to leave the tower and go out and try to save this deer. I don't really know what to do. He's like, I think you really guys should probably at least just come out here and just take a look at it. So Kyle's like, all right, whatever. So he gets up the crew, and they get out there in the boat, and they drive out there. And so they're on the boat, they find the deer, they locate the deer, they see everyone on shore. And now the momentum is even stronger. Now the lifeguards on the boat see this poor deer. They see all these people like waiting on shore, just watching and cheering when they get there. And they start rallying up. And now the lifeguards on the boat are like, Kyle, maybe we should try to save the deer. Maybe it is possible. And Kyle's like, no, I'm not putting people's lives in danger. What are we supposed to do? How am I supposed to save this deer? We can't bring it on the boat. We can't carry it. I can't swim with it. I don't know what to do. And then now what these three women on the beach have rallied up the entire beach. They've rallied up the lifeguards on the boat behind this mission of go save the deer. So Kyle's like, all right, whatever. I'm going to go try to save this deer. And so he jumps into the water, swims out to the deer. The deer freaks out. The deer's kicking him. It's kicking him in the stomach. He's trying to take one of those like red raft, like tube things and clip it around the deer's stomach. It's pushing him underneath the water. He's out of breath. He's getting kicked in the stomach. And he finally gets the thing around the deer, and it snaps, click. And he's out of breath. And he's like, okay, we got this. What's next? And he looks up and he sees one of the biggest waves he's ever seen in his entire life. And he's close enough to shore that it's going to take him over the falls. And that's exactly what it does. And if you guys have ever been slammed by a wave, you know exactly what the falls means. It means you're at the top of the wave and you basically have a 10-foot, 20-foot drop to the ocean. And he's already been out of breath, and him and the deer go over the falls. They get slammed underneath the water. He has no protection because he gave his floaty thing to the deer. And he's out of breath, struggling to breathe. It feels like you're in a washing machine. And he's like, how is this my life right now? Like, how did this happen? And he all of a sudden pulls his head up out of the water, takes one massive breath, and he sees another wave. And he can't get out of it. There's no way of avoiding it. And he thinks to himself, this is how I die. I die trying to save a deer that I didn't even want to save. He goes over the falls again, gets slammed underneath the water, and he goes, this is it. Like, my wife's going to be a widow. My son is going to be without a father. This is literally how I die. And then all of a sudden he feels this huge force, boom. And he realizes he hit shore. The waves had brought him into shore. And he opens his eyes and he looks up on the beach and he realizes, I'm alive. I did it. And he looks over and the deer's actually laying right next to him. The only problem is the deer was broken neck and dead. And the deer died anyways. Then the three women on the beach that started this whole rally and this whole mission walked over, looked at the dead deer and said, that's a shame. And then they just moved on. They didn't even care. He almost died and they didn't even care. Now, there's two reasons why I bring this story up. Number one, Kyle almost died because someone made a big deal about something and they didn't even care about it. The biggest breakthrough and takeaway that I want to leave you guys with this story is that haters do this to you guys every single day. And so one of the reasons why, like, I just gave you guys a ton of value, a ton of killer steps, a ton of things to take action on, and a ton of stuff that actually works. The number one thing that stops people from actually taking my advice is that they're like, I don't want to be polarizing. I don't want to stand on the edges. I'm going to get haters. I'm going to do that stuff. Here's the thing. Those women on the beach almost caused him to die, and they didn't even care at the end of the day. They just walked away. And we let haters come in and do that exact thing to us every single day. The problem is when haters leave a comment on our videos, they make the comment, and then we are not in their brain at all. Yet we let them control our message. We die. We will die, almost like Kyle did, but in a different way. When we're not speaking our message and our truth, we're actually dying on the inside. And when we're dying on the inside, you're allowing your business to die. And so this is why this stuff is so powerful. I want you guys to step into your power. I want you to step into your message, because the haters, just like those women did, is they'll say one thing, they will leave, and you will not be in their brain for another second. Yet you let them control your entire life, and you let them control your message, and you let them control your business when they don't even care. So that's the number one story or lesson. It doesn't matter what people think. If you let them control your life and you worry about judgment, it's going to kill you from the inside out. People are always going to judge you guys no matter what you do. And I personally would rather be judged for doing what I love and standing up for what I believe in than being judged for something that doing something that I hate. The number two lesson that I want you guys to learn, even though what the women did, it was kind of lame. They did an excellent job of showing you how to enroll people into what you believe in. They got other people to stand behind them. And this is why connection videos are so important. Although their cause was a little misguided, they show you the power that you can have when you finally step up in your message. When you finally take what I'm teaching you guys, the thought reversals, the connection videos, all of that stuff, and you stand up for what you believe in, and you do it in a way where it's connected to a unique solution, and you're actually making sales, you can make a massive amount of impact on this planet. There's no ands, if, or buts about it. I believe in this stuff into my core. And this story is a perfect example of two things that you need to really understand before you actually take action on any of this stuff. What I hope you guys realize is, like, what I'm teaching you today, it stems from the knowing. It's the true thing that humans process information on. And if you're truly an entrepreneur who wants to make an impact, this is where you need to be operating from, especially when the market's going to be becoming more and more crowded over the next couple of years. So there you go. That's my presentation.
So good. I'm like 4 pages of notes in. Holy moly. I mean, and I know this, I sit under, listen to Brandon all the time. And I'm like, I got 5 more ideas the whole time.
Brandon, you started out saying how-to content doesn't provide value, but then you say how-to educational content is what we should focus on. Can you clarify what you mean? Yes. Okay. So how-to educational content by itself, like if you're doing that 100% of the time, doesn't add the type of value that you need to be adding to grow an audience. So I didn't mean it to come off as doesn't have any place or doesn't add any value. It does add value, but only one piece of the value that we need to be bringing to people in order to stand out and build connection. So again, it's a shift in thinking of, like, because people think just need to add value by how to educational. But when I'm saying that's like a third of what we need to be doing. And that's, so that hopefully that distinction answers the question. Do you always want the thought reversal headline to be toward where you want them to be? And is the counter effective to put something like "you're the worst mom ever"? Okay. Yeah, this is a great question. So what we want to do is just state what the belief is, and that's wrong, it's bad, or it's the old way. And again, this comes from the knowing. I did basically thought reversal straight for 6 months in my own brand. Like, I've learned the mistakes. I've seen momentum die. So the thing is, and I should have told you guys in this presentation, but thought reversals need to be just like a piece of it. You don't want to be 100%, because what happens is if you continue saying this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, people just like, okay, I've had enough. So what we want to do is we want to make sure, and certain niches can handle it and certain niches can't. So like certain niches, if you're in a very like sensitive niche, maybe use thought reversals 10% of the time. But if you're in a niche that's like ready for change, use them maybe like 30% of the time. But what we don't want to do ever is tell people that they're wrong or that their belief is not right. This is not about being right or wrong. This is about shifting perspective. And if you guys look at this presentation, I never once said, or came off aggressive saying you're wrong, I'm right. But I was able to maneuver the conversation in a gentle way to kind of expose the flaws. And that's really kind of what we're doing, is more of exposing the flaws of these beliefs. So with the headlines, you never want to say you're the worst mom ever. We want to look at the belief and then just say that's wrong. It's better. It's the old way. So, well, let's just put it this way. If I did a thought reversal, and I said how-to content is not the best type of content to grow fast, that would be okay. But if I said you're wrong because you're doing how-to content, or you suck because you're doing how-to content, or your content sucks because you focus on educational, that is a pure "you're right, I'm wrong" comment versus addressing the actual belief and just saying, yeah, that might be the old way, or that's not always the best way. So hopefully that brings some clarification. You talk about videos. Would it have the same effect applied to a podcast, and would this be different impact? A great question. So the concepts I'm talking about today, yes, they can be applied to any type of content. They can be applied to blogs. They can be applied, and you guys should be using this. Like I did a whole presentation today just talking, like using these concepts. And so you can use these concepts anyway, anyhow, use them on podcasts. If you watch James or listen to James Wedmore's podcast, he's using a lot of this stuff too after he's learned it. Like it's Jim Thornton's podcast. I'm sure Shannon uses it all the time too. Like it's everywhere. Once you learn it, it's going to be integrated into your messaging. And so, the thing is though, and why I preach videos, there's two main reasons. Actually, there's a few reasons. Number one is that it allows you to hit people using the most senses that people have in order to process information. We have sight, we have sound, we have a couple different ways to do it. So it's a little bit more impactful. But to me, the most important thing is when you can structure this video and then this video and then this video, and you can hit them with 3 different messages. Like you can hit them with a connection, a thought reversal, and then a how-to, all within like a 3-day period. You can go from like cold traffic to super hot traffic, like that. But how are you going to do that with a podcast? How are you going to make sure that like when someone consumes a podcast with a very specific message, that they then hear the next one and then the next one in a certain order that you want? When we use video, we can literally control the right message to the right person at the right time, just because of the ways the platforms are structured. So I can go on the Facebook and I can go on the Instagram, and heck, we can even integrate YouTube paid. And so no matter where someone goes on the internet, because every platform is using video, I can literally control what message they're seeing and when. So that's basically, and here's the other thing. Video is not technical anymore. In fact, one of the trends with video content right now is just simple, authentic, behind the scenes. Not behind the scenes, but like behind the scene-esque. So like if I had a camera sitting here with my phone recording me on this presentation, I can just literally pick out the 5-minute section that's like a great thought reversal and then use that as content. That type of stuff that you're like, I call it documentation style, that you're already doing is enough to really get started with this. And so to me, it's the easiest form of content, because you guys, once you learn these concepts, you're already doing it. You might as well just record yourself doing it, turn it into a video and run it. Do you need the art of persuasion when using thought reversals? No. So thought reversals, the only thing you need basically to make it work are those 2 sleight of mouth patterns that I gave you, chunking up and counterexample. There's really no persuasion other than that 3rd step, which is the discredit. And that's basically just identifying the belief and how to discredit. After that, you can just do whatever you want to do, like lay down the new way. You can talk about whatever you want. There's no art of influence. There's no persuasion. There's no tricky things going on at all.
Here's what I want, like my neuro coaches to be thinking. Like your service for your clients, for the people that you want your very best person to come in, starts in the promotion phase. It starts from this place that Brandon's talking about, because they are holding beliefs that are holding them back. And the whole core of the neurocoaching model, right, is getting that thought, understanding the thought that is creating the emotion, which is creating the belief. That's what you get to do in coaching sessions with them, no matter which way you're doing it, one-on-one or group or however you're handling it. However, when you can get somebody to shift from that is a belief that no longer serves me, and it is such an act of service that it really is this automatic, like, oh my gosh, my world has now changed. I need to go work with that person. Because if she did this, or if he did this little shift here, imagine what his coaching is like. Imagine what working with them is like. And that, if you go back and you look at anything that we've done, you'll see these patterns throughout. Why? Because I so wholeheartedly believe in the beliefs that we need to shift that it is the highest and biggest act of service to employ this in all of your things that you're doing out there for free, whether it be a podcast, whether it be videos, anytime you go on lives. This is always loaded up in my mind because, and really going after like the beliefs that are holding them back from the best version of themselves in your niche, and really speaking into them. Most people are not, most people are afraid to. And you'll hear me do this all the time. You know this, like I'll talk about how manifestation is a Band-Aid and it's a part of the puzzle. It's a good thing, but if you do it in a vacuum, right? So you guys hear me say this stuff all the time and it doesn't feel manipulative or persuasive because you know how deeply I believe it and it's important. So I just love this formula, this Video 4X formula, and it works beautifully. And it's such a beautiful act of service from the moment you come online.
Yeah. And to me, it's just, like you said, I think it's the ultimate way to end suffering. Like you shift someone's belief that's holding them back in some way. That's the most powerful thing you can do for someone. And what drives me is just, this is how we end suffering. And like giving you guys the tools to do it is like, it's literally how we end suffering and better the world in my eyes. So
for those of you who are like, because I have, Brandon, the people that I have in this group, they're like the most amazing human beings in the world. And they love going deep, you know, they're all science geeks. So if you really want to go like deeper into the sleight of mouth, don't let that word, I wish they had called it something else because that seems deceptive. It's just the language patternings in which our brain receives information. Okay. And so if that was named that, we'd all be buying the book. So I just want you to not get turned off. I was turned off for a very long time, but once I went through NLP trainings and started to understand it, it's very brain-based. It's how we think, it's how we perceive. And so this is a good guide for you. I'll put the info on it, but it's called Sleight of Mouth, and the author is called Doug O'Brien. It's kind of like a Cliff Notes. So if you want to go bigger or deeper, you can grab that. But literally, I pretty much only use chunking up, chunking down, and what do you call it when you contrast them?
Counterexample?
Counterexample. Yeah. So those are like the three I've used. I don't use anything else. So you don't need to. Brandon, thank you from the bottom of my heart for teaching my coaches how to truly blow up their coaching brands online. You are such a gift.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay. These last two podcasts have been amazing. I hope you took so much value away and that you start putting into action everything that you heard on these last two podcasts, all around content that creates raving fans. I would love it if you got value out of this podcast. Please share it on the socials, on the grams, and tag me at Dr. Shannon and tag Brandon Lucero as well, because we really want to know that this has been huge for you and this is making a transformation. And of course, I would love for you to subscribe to the podcast and leave me the big warm hug of a 5-star review. We always feature our 5-star review clients and followers on our Instagram feed. So that's it for this week. Next week, we will be back with more neuroscience, brain-based, transformational content for you to really up-level your year. Until then, that's it from now from the Epic Success Podcast. Bye for now.